to Sunday Express. 253 people applied to replace George Kinoti as the Director of Criminal Investigations. Only 10 have made it to the list, and the interviews will be conducted on Tuesday. Masa Hamisi, the acting DCI, is not among the 10 names that have been fronted by the National Police Service Commission. We have details lined up for you tonight.
Well, including tomorrow being the 10th, it's the World Mental Health Day, whose theme is mental health in an unequal world. And this evening, we're going to be talking about that, given that there's a high prevalence of suicide among the youth.
And of course, Regina will be engaging her guests in the middle of this interview. Of course, we have a roundup of what has been happening in the country and further afield. You're very much welcome. Let's have a look at the highlights.
We can transform our borders, which today stand out as barriers, and convert them to bridges so that goods, services, and people can move across this East Africa without any impediments.
Stronger together, President William Ruto roots for free trade and movement within the East African community. Kinoti's succession, 10 candidates shortlisted for the position of the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. And it is a Kenyan double as Benson Kipruto and Ruth Chepngetich dominate the streets of Chicago to strike gold in the 2022 marathon.
Welcome to the broadcaster. Sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo. My name is John Jacob Kioria.
And I am Regina Manyara.
Of course, beginning with some good news for the Republic. 2021 Boston Marathon champion Benson Kipruto and defending champion Ruth Chepngetich produced a masterclass performance to win the 2022 Chicago Marathon.
Kipruto clocked 2 hours, 4 minutes, 24 seconds to win the men's title ahead of defending champion Sefutura of Ethiopia, while compatriot John Korir completed the podium dash.
It was another major achievement for Kipruto this year after finishing third at the Boston Marathon, a race won by compatriot Evans Chibet.
Now, in the women's category, Ruth Chepngetich retained her title after clocking 2 hours, 14 minutes and 18 seconds.
America's Emily Sisson came in second, while Kenya's Vivian Kiplagat settled for third position.
What a sight that must be for any marathon runner once you see that tape, knowing that victory is yours. Well, look at that, just looks as relaxed now as what he did at the start. Incredible from this fella, absolutely incredible. There's our winner, he's almost there, 50 metres to go. There is the victory for the 31-year-old Kenyan Benson Kipruto, who has won this year's Bank of America Chicago Marathon. Where's that clock? We need to see whether she's broken the world record here or not. Last year's winner has done it again. That's conclusive. It was so from a good couple of hours ago as to who was going to win. What we didn't know as to what kind of time she would get. There's the ribbon. There's our winner. And we need to know as to whether she has a new world record or not here.
I think she just missed it, unfortunately.
Well, you have to say maximum effort to her.
I'm so happy for today's race, and two things, the winning and a personal best. So I'm so happy.
Today was Independence Day in Uganda, 60th Independence Day celebrations. President Dr. William Ruto has called on the East African community and of course says it will only achieve its potential if it eliminates restrictions at the borders, inhibiting free trade and movement of citizens. President Ruto said a borderless EAC will allow people, goods and services to move across the region unhindered, creating opportunities, wealth and prosperity. The president said East African community should lead the way it, towards the realization of the African Continental Free Trade Area, what is called ATCFTA, and he was speaking in Kololo, Uganda.
President Ruto, who spoke at Kololo ceremonial grounds in Kampala, Uganda during the 60th Independence Day celebrations, said the East African Community EAC will only achieve its potential if it eliminates restrictions at the borders inhibiting free trade and movement of citizens.
It is our place as leaders and as citizens of the East Africa region for us to work together so that we can transform our borders, which today stand out as barriers, and convert them to bridges so that goods, services, and people can move across this East Africa without any impediments.
President Ruto asked President Yoweri Museveni to take charge and lead the region in ensuring EAC becomes a borderless community.
I am looking forward, Your Excellency, Mr. President, to you leading us in this region so that we can truly build prosperity and harness opportunity in our region for the mutual benefit of the 300 million people in EAC and the 1.2 billion people in the African continent.
The head of state announced that he had directed the Kenyan Trade Cabinet Secretary to work with his Ugandan counterpart in facilitating Uganda to join Kenya in the cohort of 8 African countries that have opted to trade together under the Guided Trade Initiative of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
We can formulate and sign into the Guided Trade Agreement that will facilitate the Africa Continental Free Trade Area to begin to become a reality, and so that we can harness the opportunities for investment, for trade, and for people to work together in our region.
President Ruto asked members of the business community to take advantage of the protocols and platforms of the EAC and the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement to do business across the region.
There is absolutely no reason why food cannot be available in our region. If there is food in Uganda, it should find its way to Kenya. If there is opportunity in Kenya, Ugandans should be able to access that opportunity.
President Ruto encouraged the EAC to venture into joint projects, especially in sectors where member states have an abundance of raw materials but lack the processing manpower. He cited clinker, fertilizer and steel as examples of EAC's imports of items whose raw materials are readily available in the region. Beatrice Getonyang-Etich, Sunday Express.
Now back home, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the Kenya Kwanza Alliance will ensure President William Ruto's transformational plan is realized. Speaking during a Thanksgiving ceremony in Uasin Gishu County, Rigathi thanked over 7 million Kenyans who voted for him and the president and promised to ensure the pledges made during the campaigns are honored. Gishoke Washira reports.
Leaders from the ruling Kenya Kwanza Alliance joined faithfuls in Koilel African Inland Church in Uasin Gishu County for a Thanksgiving service. Led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the leaders expressed gratitude to God for giving them victory in this year's general election. They also paid tribute to Kenyans for upholding peace during and after the polls.
Through these elections, the nation called Kenya manifested that it is a united nation.
Nataka kuwashukuru watu wa Uasin Gishu. Ile amani mlionesha, viongozi hapa wameongea, Kenya kijumla imejua ya kwamba sisi tuko pamoja.
Nashukuru nyinyi kwa ujasiri wenu kisiasa, kwamba mitego yote iliwekewa William Ruto na nyinyi mliruka yote moja kwa moja mpaka tukapata ushindi.
The Deputy President urging state officers to remain apolitical as they execute their duties.
We want to tell public servants freedom has come. We are the type of government yenye tukifika, every Kenyan will be allowed to work in a free environment and to harness their potential to serve this country, to make this country a greater place.
Hii maneno ya kushika watu Friday kuwaumiza kwa sababu ya siasa imefika mwisho. Hawa regional commissioners na county commissioners nimekuwa nao jana, na nimewaambia hatuna maneno na nyinyi. Nyinyi ni watu ya amri, mlikuwa mnatumika, hatuwezi laumu nyinyi, mkuje tufanye kazi.
Rigathi assured Kenyans the Kenya Kwanza Alliance will support President William Ruto's plan to transform the country.
So tumemchagua William Ruto na tuliweka bidii. Hiyo bidii ni kidogo. Bidii ambaye tutaweka ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba Rais William Ruto atafaulu. Hapo ndio kazi iko.
The Deputy President used the occasion to direct that the next batch of subsidized fertilizer will be distributed to farmers through joint committees comprising of National Cereals Produce Board, county governments and county commissioners. Gisho Kiwashira, Sunday Express.
And now the race to get the next DCI bosses on, because the National Police Service Commission will on Tuesday, October 11th, 2022, interview 10 candidates shortlisted for the position of Director of Criminal Investigations. According to the Commission, the exercise will be conducted at the Kenya School of Government in Lower Kabete from 8:45 a.m. to 4:15 p.m. The position fell vacant following the resignation of George Kinoti 2 weeks ago.
The National Police Service Commission call for applications for the position of Directorate of Criminal Investigation on 30th September 2022 attracted a total of 253 applicants. Only 10 have been shortlisted for interviews and vetting. Esther Chepkosgei Seronei is the only female candidate who made it to the final shortlist. Other applicants who made the cut are Amin Ibrahim Mohammed, Bernard Barasa Walumoli, Eliud Kipkoech Lagat, Gideon Nyale Munga, David Kipkosgei Birechi, Jonyo Michael Wiso, Nicholas Ireri Kimwende, Paul Jimmy Ndambuki, and Dr. Simon Mwangi Wanderi. National Police Service Commission Chairperson Eliud Kinuthia has invited the public to submit credible information relating to the shortlisted candidates through a written memoranda latest Monday, October 10th, 2022. The investigative agency is currently in the hands of Dr. Hamisi Massa, who is the acting Director General and will hold the position until the substantive director is installed. Immediate former Director George Kinoti resigned from the position on September 27, 2022 and was transferred to the Public Service Commission. Kamchemenza for Sunday Express.
We'll be keenly waiting to see who is going to fill the big gap that has been left by the former DCI. Director General, that is George Kinoti there. Now, matters security still. Police in Kakamega County are holding a man in connection with the murder of his 31-year-old wife in Shipalo Village, Malavo constituency. Jonathan Shikuku is alleged to have beaten up and strangled Faith Nanjala to death over a domestic squabble.
According to neighbors, the couple has been embroiled in marital squabbles over the last 2 years. Jonathan is said to have married a second wife and then ordered the deceased to move out of their matrimonial home. The mother of two allegedly refused to obey the suspect's orders, leading to what neighbors describe as the beginning of the end for Faith Nanjala.
Nikaona kile kilikuwa kinatendeka, anamtandika, anamchapa. Naye mama mkwe huyo msichana mwenye amezaa huyo kijana anatoa matusi kali. Anatusi huyo msichana na mtoto wake akamchapa huyo msichana kabisa. Alipokuwa anamchapa hivyo, msichana akaingia kwa nyumba, kijana akaanza kupomoa bafu. Nilipoenda nyumbani, mama mkwe akakimbia kukuja nyumbani, akasema msichana wangu yamenipata. Nikamuuliza nini? Akaniambia mwarikwa yako, mke mwenza wako amejinyonga.
Fei hakukuwa amejinyonga. Tungepata Fei kama amejinyonga, angekuwa amehang. Lakini Fei alikuwa amekaa chini, kichwa iko kwa kiti.
Huyu bwana yake ameoa bibi mwingine, bibi mdoko. Sasa vile alioa bibi mdoko, ni atakinga huyu bibi mkubwa, na huyu bibi mkubwa wamezaa naye watoto wawili.
Police are holding the suspect as they carry out investigations into the alleged murder. Residents say the incident has left them in shock, even as they urge couples to find amicable solutions to issues bedeviling their marriages.
Wanandoa, kama kuna shida kwa nyumba, tuko na nyumba 10, tuko na Hassan Chief, officers ziko huru. Hakuna haja kuvumilia kwa ndoa kama kuna shida. Heri hata kama ndoa imekushinda, uamue kurudi kwenu.
Shauri nyinyi vijana wasichana, ukiona mnasumbuana na kijana, tafadhali chukua uamuzi wa mapema, tusifikie uamuzi kama.
Meanwhile, police in Embu East Sub-County are investigating an incident in which a fetus was discovered in the pit latrine of a church in Kigumo village.
Nikatuma asha wangu nikamwambia anje aone ni nini. Kaniambia msichana ni kujaribu, amejaribu kutoa mimba, na kwa hiyo wakati akazindiwa na ugonjwa. Alipozindiwa na ugonjwa akaingia hapa kwetu kanisani. Na wakati ameingia hapa kanisani, mimi nikaita wazazi wake. Kitambo wazazi wake wakunje, kwa sababu mimi nilikuwa ofisini, nilikuwa kwa maombi, nikatumana wazazi wake wakunje. Kabla wazazi wake hawajakuja, mtoto aliweza kutoka.
It was however not immediately established whether the incident was an abortion or a miscarriage. Zainab Said, Sunday Express.
A story by Zainab Said takes us to a very fast break. But of course, before Regina tells you about the focus of the interview tonight, it's not a very good night for the likes of Rufus Patrick Hunja, one of our colleagues here, because it has been a bloodbath. Liverpool beaten 3-2 by Arsenal, and it appears like Arsenal has gone back to the top of the table. How sustainable that is, the debate is out there.
We take a quick breather, we'll be right back.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
The world's biggest sporting event is here with us. The FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar. KBC Television will air live 28 selected matches, while radio will beam live all the 64 matches. We would like to bring to the attention of the public that KBC is the only station that has exclusive 2022 FIFA World Cup free-to-air FTA broadcast rights for both TV and radio in the Kenya territory, and no other media outlet. Therefore, catch all the FIFA World Cup action live and exclusive on KBC TV and radio. KBC is indeed your true sports partner.
All right, welcome back to Sunday Express. We will take the story that leads us to our interview segment tonight, where the world commemorates World Mental Health Day on October 10th every year, with an objective to raise awareness on mental health issues around the world and to mobilize efforts to support those experiencing mental health issues. This year's theme is Make Mental Health and Well-Being for All a Global Priority. Tonight we shed the spotlight on a young couple in Nairegi and Kare, Narok County, who both suffer from mental health disorders.
On a beautiful day, May this year, Beatrice Gakeri and Njenga Pemba vowed to live together as husband and wife. What may not be obvious to many is that the two are suffering from mental health illness. Francis Pemba, the father of the groom, says they first became aware of their son's condition when they enrolled him in school.
Hata kama nimpeleka hapa DB iko special unit. Sasa ile aliendelea namna hiyo, hakufanya nini, hakufaulu. Hakuwa anashika bila anaambiwa. Akibwa andike hivi na andika opposite.
Later, Njenga is said to have expressed desire to start a family of his own and pestered his father to find him a wife.
Sasa kwenda kuambia msichana, nataka wewe uolewe na kijana wangu. Wengine wako wanataka. Wanasema Jenga, mimi siwezi kuolewa na nani? Siwezi kuolewa na Jenga. Kwa nini? Kwa jili walikuwa naona sio 100%.
As fate would have it, Beatrice Gakeri, who is equally mentally ill, agreed to be Njenga's spouse.
Mimi nilimwelewa. Niliona alikuja hiyo tulifanya harusi anikuja kugonjeka lakini nilimwelewa kabisa. Sasa kimaliza shule nilitoka tu nikuwe 7 lakini nilisema sitaki, nilikaa nilisema sitaki.
The newly married couple is however under the close watch of their parents owing to their condition.
Tunafundisha mpaka ule ajue kujipikia. Afundishwe kwa ajili ajui.
Baada kianza kupika ninaanza hapo. Baada nilikuwa nataka kuanza hii wiki shida kile nikosea ni masafuria.
As the world marks Mental Health Day on Monday, October 10th, health experts say a good social support system, especially from family and community, is important.
This condition is genetic. Give them the social support at home, and then with medication, they come to a level where they are a bit stable. And when this couple has a child, it is not necessarily the child will get a mental illness. No. The chance of passing this genetical disease is just 50%. So they may get a child who is very, very normal.
Gakeri and Jenga are now living as man and wife, and hopefully, with the necessary support, their dreams will be fulfilled. Kamche Menza for Sunday Express.
That continues forming the course of our discussion this evening, but we're not there yet. I'm going to be having a conversation, a candid one, and we hope to get your feedback on Twitter. It is at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter, but for now, the desire for mental wellness and internal peace is driving many Kenyans into yoga and meditation. To help bridge gaps and eliminate teething problems, an innovative initiative known as Nairobiing is providing the lead in this quest. Equipped with experts and other tools needed to orient converts, Nairobiing is creating spaces for Kenyans to share experiences and jointly embark on a journey to self-discovery. Take a look.
It's very good for opening the heart chakra.
The silence is loud and the mind is where it should be.
Come back, breathe out when you come up.
The quest for well-being has brought this group of city residents to the I Hate co-working space in Nairobi's Kilimani estate. It is a combination of yoga, breathing exercises, and dance.
We direct this festival together. We also have a marketplace where there are sponsors, and we have a food court, and yeah, it's a space where people come together, have workshops together, and can be in a kind of communal space doing healing arts.
What Nairobiing is about is wellness, is discovery, is healing, is balance and grounding.
Nairobiing was established to promote wellness and self-enhancement in Kenya.
We're naturally meant to be well and full of nature, full of life, full of vibrancy, constantly replenishing, just like how nature does, you know? Just like how a tree might appear to be dead, but then it regrows, just like how the ocean just leaves the beach and then comes back. Wellness is like that.
African yoga is known to be one of the oldest forms of yoga. But why is it essential?
Wellness, I think of as the things that bring you life, the things that support your health, that bring your immune system up, that bring you sort of emotional joy, lift your spirit. You know, anything that enlivens us, brings us life.
Nairobi is an event that supports and promotes local businesses that advocate for wellness.
It's using our own ciabatta.
Meet Tommaso Menin, the CEO of Arga Limited.
We love such events because we are about wellness, we are about quality and traceability, and what we try to do is to create impact where we work.
Tommaso first identified the niche after settling in Isiolo for work.
I moved to Kenya between 2014 and 2015. In 2015, that's where I based myself in Isiolo, working for an Italian NGO. After less than 1 year, I understood that what really Kenya needed was mostly those areas in the north was market linkages.
The women in the northern semi-arid areas in Kenya highly benefit from the agricultural trade-off.
We have impacted several hundreds of people in arid and semi-arid lands, and as of late, in fact, just last week, we started buying aloe leaves, in order to then process them and make it into powder, and then make it into the cosmetic products that we make. And
did you know that frankincense and myrrh are harvested here in Kenya from trees?
Frankincense and myrrh are raisins that ooze out of trees, and that's what we teach communities, to tap, right, the raisin or the gum, in the case of gum arabic, out of the trees, but we teach them how to do it sustainably.
The business has had its focus on climate adaptation, a move that is highly advocated by environmental organizations.
We created seedlings. These seedlings are then transplanted into degraded lands because aloe quite simply grows on rocks and sand. So this is one angle that we've been quite strong in, which is called landscape restoration. That's what we're trying to do within the climate adaptation angle.
The essential oils are known to be the better option for the skin.
I like to tell people, look at essential oils like the soul of a plant or a tree or a flower, right? Because we are extracting the real soul, and most of the time the yield, what comes out, is very little.
Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Karen Thiongo.
That report there by Karen Thiongo just takes us to our conversation this evening on matters your mental health and the impact it has on the quality of your life. Joining us this evening and to this conversation to just give us more insight is none other than Dr. Alfred Gitonga, who is a consulting psychiatrist with the Ministry of Health. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you very much for
now, 2 pieces before that, we saw a couple that, is dealing with mental disorders. And now we're seeing this initiative to ensure that majority of Nairobians get to exercise, do yoga for mental well-being. But before we get to the details, especially in the status report of where we find ourselves as a country, let's demystify. When we say mental illness, mental disorder, what comes to mind is madness, and immediately what a majority of Kenyans understand is you're fit or you're supposed to be in Mathare. Let's start from there. Let's make us understand. Break it down.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Mental health is a state in which somebody is able to interact with society in a healthy manner. They have internal balance, and they are happy and engage themselves in things they love, and they get the passion for what they do. Whenever you have a state of internal imbalance, which could be from a mental health condition such as depression or anxiety, then your enjoyment of life naturally diminishes, and then you start expressing that outwards in the behavior that you express, and people are able to see this from just interacting with you. For example, when you meet with a person with depression, they may fake that they are actually happy, but you can see that they do not have that verve, that energy for life.
So it's a state of mind, so to speak, and how we express ourselves.
That is correct. And it all begins in the mind. to simplify, the brain works on through cells we call neurons, and these neurons usually integrate each other and communicate through things we call neurotransmitters. Now, whenever you go through extreme stress, these neurotransmitters go out of balance, and the communication between the neurons affects how your brain operates. It will affect the your emotional well-being, and that is now how we start seeing people expressing outwardly the behavior of distress from that imbalance in the brain.
Okay. Now, where do we stand as a country, given that the Mental Health Act came into effect in June this year? What strides have we made in trying to just have it together, so to speak?
Okay. Since the Mental Health Act came into effect, I would like to confirm to you right now that I am aware that one of the most ardent supporters of mental health in the country, Senator Sylvia Kasanga, has a letter that sits in the desk of the chairman of the Council of Governors, Honorable Waiguru, and it seeks to exemplify and promote what the task force, the presidential task force on mental health had recommended, which was number one, the formation of county mental health councils. Then these county mental health councils are going to handle governance issues on all matters county related as mental health. Then the county mental health councils are supposed to be given a budget line by the counties themselves. So Senator Kasanga seeks to ask the Council of Governors, as they do their county integrated development plans, there's now a budget line to handle mental health promotion and preventive activities within the counties themselves.
What overall impact will it have on our mental health state as a country?
As a country, we are taking services closer to the people. Remember that we still operate on two levels of government. We have the county government system and we have the national government system. As a national government officer, my job is primarily policy and capacity building and technical assistance to these people at the counties, because the counties have the role to take care of their own people health matters related. So we have given enough policy direction to the counties. What we are waiting for is the operationalization of the county mental health councils. And once this comes into play, then we'll be able to see services being taken closer to the people.
Now, the WHO gave some very grim statistics, I think, last year and beginning of this year, indicating that 1.9 million Kenyans are either suffering in one mental issue or the other. Where are we at as of 2022?
Let me give you the statistics that I know that we have local studies that have been investigating the current state of mental health in this republic. And like I said earlier, the numbers we have are this. Number one, we have 1% of our population suffering from a condition known as psychosis. Psychosis is what you are describing, and I apologize for using this word, madness. Number two, of the patients who are accessing services in our healthcare facilities, both private and government, 25% of all outpatients and 40% of all inpatients have one or another mental health condition. Number three, according to the Global Health Observatory study by the World Health Organization, 10.8% of the Kenyan population has one mental health condition or another. Let me give it to you in numbers. 10.8% of our population, if we use the average population of 50 million, we are looking at 5.4 million individuals who are suffering, and they are not, they have one or another diagnosable condition.
4.4.
5.4 million.
5.4.
Yes.
Million.
Yes.
That's quite a population. Why do you think this is happening in this day and age?
Okay. You know, mental illnesses by their very means have what we call social determinants that cause people to get ill. Let me give you the statistics. Number one, unemployment. A third of our population, live below the poverty line. That is less than $1 per day per family. Number two, unemployment. 40% of the youth population in this country is unemployed. We have the highest unemployment numbers in East Africa. That leads to a lot of depression and a lot of anxiety. Number three, we have gender-based violence issues, like is reported in the media from time to time. And this has been leading to a lot of acrimony in families, and that sustained friction causes the people involved to get mental health conditions. Number four, we have a lot of trauma that people are enduring because of the things like, let me mention the 2007-2008 post-election violence. Do you know that 62% of the displaced people during that period developed post-traumatic stress disorder? Gambling. I have said over and over again that we have a gambling epidemic in this republic, and the gambling operators have refused to assist their users because their users are going into depression because of the mounting debt that they accrue. And last and finally, we need not forget that we are living in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 escalated mental health conditions to obscene numbers, and that is why we are seeing such a high prevalence of mental ill health amongst our population.
Now, in this population, 5.4 million is not a walk in the park. That's quite a population. Which demographic is highly affected when it comes to matters health, mental health?
When it comes to matters mental health, the youth between the ages of 15 and 25 are suffering the most.
Is it the same male, female, or because I remember when you brought up that issue of COVID-19, there was a survey that was carried out among the universities, and it showed there was a lot of gender-based violence, and most often we found that the perpetrators were rather male. Now they're rather with a few numbers being female counterparts. So does this number still apply, or is it just general?
I should believe that the male population is more affected than the female population.
Now, talking about affecting, there's another issue that has cropped up, and it is all tied to matters of mental wellness. The high rate of suicide that we are witnessing in the country. Life is priceless, but now that's a price that a majority or significant number is willing to pay.
Suicide by its very nature, and we'd like to correct the media that we should be saying died by suicide.
Died by suicide.
Not committed suicide. It's not an act of commission. It is a result of distress. So the numbers we have at the ministry from a World Health Organization sponsored study is that we have 4 suicide deaths in Kenya on a daily basis, but they are underreported. Case being, suicide is a criminal offense. Number 2, there is a lot of stigma amongst families, so they will not want to confess that one of their own died by suicide. And I would like to let you know that as a division, we have really participated in a lot of advocacy so that we can decriminalize suicide. Suicide is not a crime. It is a mental health condition, so we should not arrest them. You know, if you are arrested for trying to commit suicide, it is a 2-year jail term, a fine, or both. So the Kenya Psychiatric Association, together with the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, and a very ardent advocate of mental health, who is a person with lived experience because she has suffered from bipolar for a long time and is a person or patient of mine, Charity Moturi, have a petition at the High Court right now to declare that Section 226 of the Penal Code, which is the one that criminalizes suicide, is declared unconstitutional.
This is the numbers of suicide?
No, there are multiple strategies that the ministry has embarked on to reduce the rate of suicides in the country. Number 1, we have launched the suicide prevention strategy just in the month of August. We celebrated the World Suicide Prevention Day on the 10th of September. In the suicide prevention strategy, we have collaborated with the Ministry of Agriculture, and one of our interventions is restricting access to the means of committing suicide. And this usually happens mostly through ingestion of pesticides. Number 2 is that the policy by the ministry aims to reduce deaths by suicide by 10% by the year 2026. It is a matter we are taking very seriously, and as we speak, capacity is being rolled over to the counties, like I said, because the document already exists. Now, implementing and seeing the results of any policy takes around 5 years for you to see real change after implementation.
We'll be keeping tabs on that. The earmarked year is actually 2026, so give or take, we have around 3 years to see that come to fruition. Now, on an individual level, away from matters of policy, From where you sit as a psychiatrist, what are the triggers? What triggers should someone be looking out for?
Okay. I am an ardent advocate for self-discovery and knowledge of thyself. So it is that you are aware when you go out of balance, when you are unhappy, when you start feeling sad. And signs of mental illness sometimes are very predictable. One could be somebody sleeping too much. Another could be somebody sleeping too little or not getting any sleep at all.
Insomnia?
Insomnia.
Okay.
There is eating too much. Another one could be not eating at all and lack of appetite. But anytime you feel that your mood is low and you are sad and you start questioning your self-esteem and you start feeling unworthy, and then your emotional and psychological state is that you are not enjoying things you used to enjoy. Biggest trigger, you find somebody not enjoying the things they previously enjoyed. If you loved watching movies, you no longer even get any peace from an activity that caused you happiness before. So self-knowledge, self-mastery is the key.
Now, Daktari, other than where do I seek help now that I've known I have a problem?
Yes.
Supposing that I have a problem, where do I seek help?
We are, the numbers we have on capacity is that we have professionals being posted to every county to assist people who may be in need. As I speak right now, we have 52 psychiatrists in government service. We have 97 student psychiatrists at the University of Nairobi. We have another 20 university students who are doing their masters in psychiatry at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital University, Moi University. So we are in the process of increasing the capacity of professionals to assist people. That aside, we have 16 government health facilities that have inpatient services, 16. And the government always collaborates and synergizes efforts with the people in the faith-based organizations and private providers. And it is upon the patient or the person who feels like they need help to take care of their own initiative and look for the professionals because they are there. Furthermore, the Kenya Red Cross has done a very good thing. The Kenya Red Cross has an emergency toll-free line for anybody who is in distress. The number is 1199. If you call the number 1199 and for any reason you're in psychological distress, they offer what we call psychological first aid. You know, like when you get an injury, a regular physical injury, the first aid where you are cleaned out with an antiseptic or something like that to prevent it becoming worse. Now we have what we call psychological first aid. Yes, you get emotional first aid, and if you're in distress, at least we get to see that you live another day.
Is mental health services actually covered under the NHIF?
Very good question. I really feel that we as a division of mental health, led by my director, Dr. Simon Jogona, have been engaging the NHIF to increase their funding for covering mental health conditions. Let me surprise you. Do you know that if you're admitted in a level 4 facility in Kenya with a general medical condition, they pay 3,000 shillings for your bed every day? If you are admitted and the diagnosis just changes and they write a psychological or a psychiatric condition, they only pay 1,000 per day. There is a lot of what we call inequity in means of coverage. Number two, if you are to access outpatient services for mental health under the NHIF, they only pay 1,400 shillings per person per year, which is not enough to cover the drugs, the psychological first aid, the counseling services after that, and aftercare. So we encourage Kenyans in the last talk to take NHIF cards to cover themselves, just in case they need to access mental health services. Okay. The current uptake of the NHIF is at 16%, but we are continuing to advocate for the NHIF to consider mental health to be like any other mental health, any other physical condition. Why are they discriminating against patients with mental illnesses? That is the question I want to ask them.
Good question. Now, we also want to ask you, tomorrow is the World Mental Health Day, and the theme is mental health in an unequal world. What should Kenyans expect?
Okay, in answering that question, I would expect that Kenyans realize that stigma and discrimination is one of the things that really stands in the way of patients with mental health conditions accessing care. So the inequality in mental health is because of the stigma. So we will be passing a message that mental health conditions are diseases like any other. Please do not stigmatize people with mental health conditions. And I'm happy that you have run a feature of a couple that got married the other day, and both of them have admitted openly that they have a mental health condition. So let us end stigma against mental health conditions.
Indeed. That has been our guest this evening as we have been discussing matters of mental health and the impact it has on your quality of life. The number to share in the event that you find yourself in distress, or psychological distress, so to speak, is 1199. You're going to get first aid, and take home is that we shouldn't stigmatize anyone who finds themselves in this situation, given that the statistics as they are is 5.4 million of us Kenyans are suffering are suffering a mental disorder of one kind or the other. Now let's delve to the counties, where Busia County Commissioner Sam Ojwang is warning perpetrators of child labor in the region that their days were numbered and they will soon be brought to book. Matayos and Teso North constituencies have been flagged out as regions with high rates of child labor.
The warning comes amid calls for collaborative partnership amongst all actors in the fight against labor and abuse. Already, various government agencies in Busia County have partnered with non-governmental organizations to establish a 3-year program geared towards exposing and eliminating child labor in the two constituencies.
That moving forward, it is total action against perpetrators of child labor, total action in terms of eradicating child labor in our midst. And because the hotspots have been mapped and the perpetrators are known, from where I sit, working with the county government and working with those amongst us from the national government who are involved in law enforcement and justice, it will be about taking action against perpetrators.
Elsewhere, Changamu Member of Parliament Omar Mwinyi is urging the Mombasa County government to consider 100 million shillings annual budgetary allocation to fund college bursaries for students from underprivileged families. Mwinyi, who organized a career counseling forum in his constituency, called on the youth to make the right choices and embrace the different courses offered in the technical training institution in the region.
Tunataka kupata takriban kama vijana 2,000 as a starting point, ambao tunajua tukiweza kubadilisha hao, then it will become easier, kwa sababu tutawatumia hao vijana sasa kuweza kuzungumza na wenzi wao. Tumekuwa na shida ya kutopata ufadhili wa basari.
Meanwhile, a section of civils at mitigating the adverse effects of climate change. They're also calling on the county government to establish ward climate committees for easier and faster implementation of They are also calling on the county government to establish ward climate committees for easier and faster implementation of the programs.
Number of wards, around 13 wards, have been formed. We hope the county government will complete the remaining 27 wards within this financial year, so that all wards, all these committees can be capacity built to understand their role.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
At KBC Channel 1, we put people at the heart of events with our captivating weekly news features. Every day, we are breaking new grounds with informative, entertaining, and inspiring human interest stories. On Mondays, 9 p.m., we have The Cabinets. Tuesday, 9 p.m., we get inside the barracks for Military Tales. We delve in the world of cinemas and theater each Wednesday night. For the young and industrious, make a date with us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Fridays are dedicated for my culture. On Saturdays, we go back in time for history in perspective. And on Sundays, we get to know the process of how things are done and made. KBC Channel 1 News features a whole lot of wonderful viewing experience.
As you can see right there, 42 days to go till the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar kicks off on the 20th of November. That is next month, up until the 18th of December. And KBC, of course, will be we'll be bringing you the matches, so keep tuned in for that and, of course, more. But on to our first news story tonight, whereby Nairobi County handball team trounced Eastern 2011 in a one-sided encounter on day 2 of the Special Olympics trials at the Manyara National Stadium. The trials were held to select a team that will represent Kenya in the Special Olympic Games, set to be held in Berlin, Germany next year.
Nairobi handball team dominated the match from the start, making several attempts in the early minutes. In the first half, the Eastern region team lost open chances, with the match going into the breather, Nairobi leading 12-6. In the second half, the Nairobi team gave their best and won the match 2011.
The main agenda is to pick Team Kenya that will represent the country in 2023 World Summer Games. We do it a little bit earlier so that we are able to have a good time for preparing the Team Kenya.
In volleyball, the Central Region team beat Coast Region team by 3-0. The team won by sets of 25-16, 25-21 and 25-10.
Tulitoka huko kuja kuparticipate kwa hii national competition za Special Olympics, na tumeona michezo inaendelea vizuri, imeandaliwa vizuri kabisa, na kila mchezaji anajizatiti kutetea timu yake.
The Nyanza Beach team humbled Rift Valley by 3-1.
Ilikuwa poa, but somehow difficult, but nilimanage kwa number 2. Unafai kujiaminia. Second, you believe in yourself. Third, you be positive.
The trials were held to select a team that will represent Kenya in Special Olympic Games, set to be held in Berlin, Germany next year.
As the curtains of the Special Olympics Kenya national trials come to an end today, the selected team now will report to their respective camps to start preparations ahead of the World Games, which will be held next year in Berlin, Germany. For Sunday Express, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Well, thank you, Daniel Mwendo, for that report. To other matters now, Kinyi Oko, Nemo Wairimo, Andrew Ogola and Nabil Shekli broke current records in different categories as the curtains came down on Nairobi County Aquatic Association Level 2 Swimming Gala that was held at the McKinney School. Elsewhere, Little Fish Swim Club emerged victorious in the men's category with 13 medals, while Bribant Swimming Club won the ladies category with 22 medals.
41.78 seconds, breaking the record of 46.98 seconds in backstroke.
Level 3 and I reduced 6 seconds, and yesterday I had done the 100 freestyle. I also qualified for level 3 and I reduced 10 seconds.
Andrew Ogola recorded a time of 1 minute 26.51 seconds, erasing the previous record of 1 minute 26.79 seconds, with Nabil Shikeli clocking 2 minutes and 22 seconds, 7 seconds ahead of the previous record of 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
I get to learn my strengths and what I've been working on during training. My specific training for this week and for the previous days I've been working on for this gala, like my turns and my starts, which have helped me improve on my times.
As I go on to level 3, I would like to win more races, and I'd like to participate in more, because here in level 2 I've qualified for most races. And in level 3, I'd simply like to do well and beat my times, and not necessarily focus on winning any gold medal.
A total of 16 schools participated in the competition, with Little Fish Swimming Club winning the main clubs, who took the second and third position.
And our training is usually hard, so I usually push myself.
In the women's category, Braeburn Swimming Club bagged 22 medals, finishing ahead of Kenton Swimming Club and Hillcrest Swimming Clubs, who came in second and third places respectively. Elsewhere, Ghana will make their 4th appearance at the FIFA World Cup finals next month in Qatar, and is among the 5 African teams that qualified for the global soccer showpiece. The team, popularly known as the Black Stars, have previously appeared in the finals of the FIFA World Cup on 3 occasions. The finals will be televised live on KBC Channel 1.
The Black Stars, who are currently ranked at position 60 in the FIFA rankings, topped Group G of the World Cup qualifiers, winning 4 out of 6 group matches. The team, coached by Otto Addo, has appeared in the finals of the FIFA World Cup 3 times in 2006, 2010 and 2014. Second round, becoming the 6th nation in a row from Africa to progress beyond the group stages of the World Cup. Ghana had the youngest team in 2006 FIFA World Cup, with an average age of 23 years. In the 2010 World Cup, Ghana progressed beyond group stages and reached the quarterfinals, where they were eliminated by Uruguay, denying Ghana an almost certain winning goal. Had Ghana won their quarterfinal, they would have become the first African nation to progress to the semi-finals of the World Cup. At the 2014 World Cup, Ghana was eliminated at the group stages. Nigeria. They battled Nigeria to a 1-1 draw in the second leg of their play encounter. Ghana's 1 goal in Nigeria was scored by Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey. In Qatar, the Black Stars of Ghana have been drawn in Group H alongside Portugal, Uruguay and South Korea. For Sunday Express, I'm Sela Onyango.
On to other matters now. Jafet Obonyo braved all odds, including difficult pin positions, to emerge the Division 1 overall winner for the course leg of the ongoing 2022 NCBA Golf Series tournament that was played at the Par 71 Sea-Link Mombasa Golf Course in Mombasa County. The series that started off at Railways Golf Club in February this year will culminate in a grand finale tournament in December, where the top 4 winners from each category will enjoy a fully sponsored golf tour at the Fan Court Golf Estate in South Africa.
The handicap 16 Obonyo carried a score of 38 Stableford points to beat a team of 110 golfers in the day-long 18-hole Stableford tournament that attracted golfers with valid handicaps from the home club, 97 points. The Division 2 men winner on 30 points was handicap 36, Rishi Dodia on 46 points, and handicap 23, Shil Dodia, brought 40 points to claim the runners-up slot. Dan Anthiwa, playing off handicap 53, was the Division 3 winner after closing the day on 30 points, while handicap 44, Jacqueline Mutaki, with 25 points, was the runners-up, as Faith Muteti and William Kaguta won the longest drive lady and men prizes respectively.
We have done our irrigation project. We are looking forward in doing a desalination project which will give us a sustainable source of water to make the coast green. And the more we get the coast green, we believe that we are going to get more sponsorships. We are going to improve the game of golf. We are going to have more partners come to Mombasa, and we are going to open the Mombasa that we knew before that we knew that Mombasa was a tourist destination.
It's been a good journey for us. It's helped us reach out to many customers, and within the coast region, we have quite a number of branches and relationship management team that takes care of these customers. So in every other event, we get an opportunity to reach out to customers, talk to them, and of course get to grow our business even as we work together with the community to grow the game within the region.
The series that started off at Railways Golf Club early this year will culminate in a grand finale tournament in December, where the top 4 winners from each category will enjoy a fully sponsored golf tour at the Fan Court Golf Estate in South Africa.
Well, that's all the time we had for sports, but of course it will do nobody any justice if we don't mention that where this phone is and where this knee is, Arsenal are still top of the table, of course beating Liverpool 3-2, and in other matches you had West Ham United beating Fulham 3-1, while Crystal Palace were 2-1 winners over Leeds United. And well, the big one has to be mentioned, obviously, Manchester United playing away to Everton at Goodison Park. It will be opening the scoring in the 5th minute, but Anthony Santos equalizing for Manchester United before, well, Cristiano finally scored an EPL goal. So
the only thing you're not saying is that you're on your knees, because the game is on halftime.
Come on.
To probably see what the result will be at full time. Manchester United is on their knees.
Can we just enjoy a Manchester win for crying out loud?
They win this game.
No, you had your day last week. Now please, can we have a good evening?
All right, I wish you all the best.
We will.
All the best. We need to wind up. I understand we are under pressure to put it on a cap. Thank you very much for watching tonight. My name is John Jacob Kioria.
And I'm Regina Manyara.
Oh, my name is Richard Munga, and for more updates in regards to today's matches and other updates, stay tuned into KBC subsequent bulletins. And well, I'll better to sign off than soon.
Have
a good night.